Coming up on the Charge on Air, students marched in protest demanding that UCF keeps ICE off campus.
The TikTok star that's taken UCF by storm is using his platform to bring students together.
UCF students are falling victim to a TikTok scam.
In sports, UCF men's soccer reaches for the stars in their space game.
The Charge on Air starts now. Nights and welcome to the Charge on Air. I'm Skyler Williamson.
And I'm Camila Escobar. Today is Friday, October 24th, 2025.
On Tuesday, October 21st, Students for a Democratic Society held a rally at Memory Mall. I had the chance to find out more about the overarching theme of the protest. On Tuesday evening, Students for a Democratic Society, SDS, gathered together to protest ICE on campus. The student organization was joined by other campus organizations holding signs saying "No Fascist USA" and more. Students marched to Milliken Hall in hopes of delivering their petition to UCF President Cartwright. SDS President Marcus Polzer says he hopes instead of complying with the Trump administration, the admin will stand up with its students and kick ICE off campus.
You know, UCF students are standing up and fighting back, that there is a strong progressive base here, that students here actively care about what's going on in the world and in their communities, and that we're just one small part of the growing student movement across the country.
I'm standing out here in front of Milliken Hall where student protesters are demanding a safe haven on campus. Students have been marching and, as you can hear, chanting to say no to ICE on campus.
Student protesters were not alone in their march. Members of Turning Point at UCF joined the conversation with opposing signs. Nicolas Scheidman-Clark, junior mechanical engineering major, says he's a big supporter of ICE's mission in enforcing the border.
We're already tabling over there, and we thought these people are protesting against ICE. We may as well voice our opposing views and show that there's a different voice out there.
Professor Aubrey Jewett is the Associate Director of the School of Politics, Security, and International Affairs at UCF. Jewett says the No Kings protest provided a platform for students to openly voice their opinions.
For a lot of UCF students, the No Kings protest or counter-protest are and were a great opportunity to get involved and express their feelings about the issues of the day and whether they support what President Trump is doing or they don't.
Jewett says protests are a constitutionally protected form of political involvement that students can join if they feel strongly about an issue. In Orlando, Skyler Williamson, The Charge on Air. For more information about future protests, be sure to keep up with The Charge News.
The federal government has been shut down for 3 weeks, making it the second longest shutdown in U.S. history. Democrats are still holding out for negotiations that address cuts to Medicaid and expiring Obamacare subsidies. Meanwhile, some House Democrats sent a letter to the Trump administration asking it to stop mass layoffs during the shutdown. No statute requires federal employees to be laid off during a funding lapse, and it's never been done before. We'll have more about how the shutdown affects us next week.
A 2024 survey conducted by F-Secure found that 60% of TikTok users encounter a scam weekly, and 15% have become victims. Charge on Air reporter John Warner tells us more about the risks behind the app.
UCF senior Gabrielle J. Herrera says that she's been ripped off before on TikTok. She says that she posted about the disappointment of missing out on tickets for her favorite band's concert.
Then somebody was on TikTok was like, "Hey, I've got tickets and I can't go anymore. Do you want to buy them from me?"
Herrera says she took the bait.
And when I looked at their profile, they looked like a normal 20-year-old girl, So I was like, okay, I can believe this.
TikTok, right? That's exactly what got a 19-year-old UCF student caught in the middle of a scam that ended with a threat against his life. Experts say that this 19-year-old UCF student is far from the only victim of scams like this.
UCF Associate Professor Dr. Stephen Holmes says it's often organized groups that do the scamming.
It's not a person in an apartment over in a COE that's sending these emails. There are in the Caribbean, they're in Nigeria, they're someplace else.
He says it's why the suspects in this case are not behind bars.
These things, they stay forever. They stay in the back of your mind. That damage is there.
I did not tell any of my friends because that's embarrassing. And honestly, I didn't even want to tell my parents.
Holmes and Herrera say the mental scars and shame of being scammed is just as bad as losing the money. At UCF, John Warner, The Charge on Air.
UCF police say if another TikTok user contacts you and requests that you transfer money, cut off communication immediately and file a report.
UCF's newest TikTok sensation, Orion the Scholar, has been making waves throughout our campus since the beginning of the semester. Charge on Air reporter Lukas Miller tells us more.
Orion!
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 Orion! Orion! Orion!
Orion. Who is this mystery man that has taken UCF's campus by storm? Meet Orion the Scholar, a TikToker who has found plenty of success by posting UCF lifestyle content. The transfer student has also gotten so popular that he's being thrown a birthday celebration. But the influencer is surprised to see how fast his life has changed and had some kind words for fellow autistic students.
Well, I didn't think I would get famous this fast. I always thought it was going to be a process, but this is welcoming for sure. For my fellow autistics, you can do anything. You can do anything, put your mind to. You don't have to be limited by your disabilities, your personalities, or whatever.
At Orion's birthday celebration, over 200 students RSVP'd for the event. Our own Nitro even knighted the influencer in front of the massive crowd. Freshman Alexandra Bovell said she's very happy with what Orion has done for our student body.
I love Orion and I love his videos because I love what he's done for the UCF community, bringing us all together. I think everything that he's done for autism awareness and just seeing how everybody can get together and celebrate him, I just think he's an awesome guy and I love his videos.
Nearing the end of the event, students all happily sang the icon happy birthday.
Happy birthday!
Orion and I are standing here after the event took place. The celebration was awesome. We even got to see Nitro. Orion, how are you feeling? It was an amazing sight to see UCF celebrate our very own. After everything was over, Orion left with a smile on his face as he finally had the movie semester he's always wanted. In Orlando, Lukas Miller, The Charge on Air.
If you see Orion on campus, be sure to snap a selfie with the legend himself.
On Wednesday, students were ready to launch their careers at the first ever Rosen Career Fair hosted on the main campus. Over 800 students gathered to reach for the stars and explore how hospitality plays a role in space. This year marks Rosen's largest career fair in history, giving students the chance to connect with employers from across hospitality and space tourism industries. Event leader Michelle Freebird says that Rosen College plans to be a leading name in the future of hospitality beyond Earth.
About 10 years, we're on track to have the first hotel in space. And Rosen is working on being a big name within the hospitality of space tourism.
It says Rosen is partnering with Kennedy Space Center and Delaware North to bring the space theme to life and highlight the growing role of space tourism. She also adds that Rosen is undergoing major renovations focused on innovation and technology efforts that are bringing the hospitality industry into the 21st century and one step closer to space. She hopes students use this opportunity to network and land future jobs in the field.
Speaking of space, this weather lately sure has been out of this world. Lukas, hit us with our current conditions.
Hey there, guys. I'm so glad we're right in front of the Lake Claire right now. The wind is blowing super hard and the sky is nice and blue. Let's go ahead and take a look at our current conditions. Right now, the temperature is currently at 81 degrees with a humidity of 48%. The wind speed is howling at 13 miles an hour, but the chance of rain is at 0. So you do not have to pack any sort of coats or anything like that. And I'm super happy that I'm finally out here enjoying the sun because Lord knows I need that tan. Alrighty, guys, back to y'all at the desk.
Thanks for the update, Lukas. Coming up next, how a new container system is helping UCF students cut waste.
Plus, students across the state kicked their way to UCF for the first Florida Collegiate Taekwondo Rumble.
May never look the same again. Everyday issues like pollution, climate change, sea level rise, They threaten the beautiful nature here in our backyard. But here at UCF, you personally can receive funding to make a change. Students of all backgrounds are encouraged to apply for the Gulf Scholars Program. Funded by a grant from the National Academies of Sciences, this program prepares future leaders to solve some of the toughest issues our environment will face, all through team-based research and education right here at UCF. Participating students can receive mentorship from faculty in multiple fields, paid travel, and the chance to make up to $5,000 per year for each year in the program. Plus, Gulf Scholars get the chance to go on unique adventures around Florida's Gulf Coast, showing them exactly why it should be protected up close. Undergraduate students in any major can apply at gulfscholars.research.ucf.edu.
Love is a lesson that doesn't end. It knows no conditions, so you better buckle in. Love keeps you on your toes. It never stops, only grows. Love isn't easy. It's a commitment, especially when they're being their most resistant. Love is being prepared for the journey ahead. Love doesn't let any concerns go unsaid. Love is finding the right seat so you can take a breath. But remember, love isn't lax. It always double checks. Check that your kids are in the right seat at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Love protects.
UCF's Dining Services has introduced the Aussie System, a reusable container program designed to reduce waste and promote sustainability across campus dining. Charge on Air's Melanie Gallardo tells us how this initiative is helping UCF go green.
Each Aussie box can save up to 300 single-use containers, making every meal a win for sustainability. Students simply fill their box, return it for a token, and swap it for a fresh one each visit. For a one-time fee of $6.75, students join the program and reuse their token for easy container exchanges. The system cuts costs, reduces waste, and helps UCF shrink its carbon footprint one reusable container at a time. Chef Tyrell Langhorn, UCF's campus executive chef, explains the Aussie program lets guests return the reusable container at semester's end for a full refund.
The guests will receive a to-go container that is recyclable and washable, and once they are done with the semester, they are to give that container back and they will get refunded that $6.75 as long as they bring the container and the coin back.
Students never have to wash the containers themselves. UCF's industrial dishwashers ensure every container is thoroughly cleaned, making the process seamless and convenient. Langhorn says more students are using the Aussie program. For students like Brandon LaRusso, it's about more than sustainability, it's about convenience. Aussie helps students enjoy meals on their own scheduled time while reducing waste.
When I got it, it's kind of more for convenience. I usually eat a lot later at night, like around 10 p.m. That's after the dining hall closes, so it's kind of nice to be able to eat at 10.
LaRusso says the Aussie containers are a good size, with bright colors that make them easy to spot. By replacing disposable trays with reusable containers, UCF makes mealtime easier and cuts down on campus waste. In Orlando, Melanie Gallardo, Charge on Air.
There are no current plans to expand the Aussie program. Langhorn says student participation has been steadily increasing, showing strong support for the initiative on campus.
UCF hosts its first school psychology information session of the semester, highlighting a growing shortage of professionals across the country. UCF is the only university in Central Florida offering a specialist program in school psychology, preparing students to work closely with children. Professor Gordon Taub informed applicants about the program's curriculum and what to expect if they pursue a career in school psychology. He also explained that this year brings changes. DEI grants are no longer available, but a new funding opportunity is being developed to support future applicants. UCF alumna Mallory Griesmer shared her passion for mental health and education, highlighting the challenge of balancing attention among students while building more meaningful relationships with them.
I do my best to balance that, and I think that is also a reason why I'm pursuing school psychology, because you get that more intimate relationship with students and you can focus your full energy on helping them academically, socially, emotionally, however it is, to figure out what their needs are and help them achieve those needs.
Organizers hope the program will inspire more students to enter the field and support the mental well-being of children across Florida. The program is accepting applications for next semester as UCF continues to address the growing need for school psychologists.
The Taekwondo club at UCF was joined by a few of our fellow neighbors on the mat last weekend. Charge on Air reporter Nicolas Hernandez tells us more about what it meant for multiple schools to train together on one mat.
Class was in session on campus last weekend, but not just for UCF students. The Taekwondo club at UCF held Florida's very first collegiate Taekwondo practice and rumble. Taekwondo clubs across universities invite students of all levels of experience to practice the Korean martial art, from beginner white belts to veteran black belts. This training session welcomed the clubs from USF, UF, and FAU to the night's home turf for some friendly competition. Courtney Bennett is a senior in the newly formed USF Taekwondo club. She says the camaraderie she felt at the practice from the other schools made the 2-hour drive worth it.
There was one moment where I was doing like a kick combination and I like felt it like, oh, I finally did it. I got it. And like my line was cheering for me and nobody in my line was from my school. So that was just like really special to see. Like it doesn't matter what school you go to, we're all doing the same thing and we all have the same goals.
The students behind me might be kicking each other, but that's just an essential part to building camaraderie in martial arts. Training together between different schools isn't just a fun way to make new friends, it's also the key to performing better in competition. Kylie Maringer is a senior kinesiology major at UCF. She's trained Taekwondo since she was 4 years old and now coaches the club's competitive national team. For Maringer, stepping on the mat with strangers is a great way to gain a competitive advantage.
When you're fighting the same person over and over and over, you already know what to do. There's no strategy building and you're not working on that. Because it's kind of like a game of chess with your feet. You have to make quick decisions and be able to evaluate someone in a match. I think it does a lot for the development, especially of athletes who haven't been outside of their club.
The club hopes to continue holding joint practices like these at least once a semester going forward. With Central Florida being the perfect middle point for schools across Florida, they hope to fill the mat with even more schools the next time they kick it together. In Orlando, Nicolas Hernandez, The Charge on Air.
The club says it will keep its doors open to any Florida schools that want to participate in joint practices like this one in the future.
Cooler temperatures are moving into Orlando. Find out if they're sticking around after the break.
Plus, UCF men's soccer took their game out of this world in their space matchup against James Madison. Don't go too far. The Charge on Air will be right back.
The same again. Everyday issues like pollution, climate change, sea level rise, they threaten the beautiful nature here in our backyard. But here at UCF, you personally can receive funding to make a change. Students of all backgrounds are encouraged to apply for the Gulf Scholars Program. Funded by a grant from the National Academies of Sciences, this program prepares future leaders to solve some of the toughest issues our environment will face, all through team-based research and education right here at UCF. Participating students can receive mentorship from faculty in multiple fields, paid travel, and the chance to make up to $5,000 per year for each year in the program. Plus, Gulf Scholars get the chance to go on unique adventures around Florida's Gulf Coast, showing them exactly why it should be protected up close. Undergraduate students in any major can apply at gulfscholars.research.ucf.edu.
Bring it.
late to dinner. My mom's gonna kill me. Catch you guys later.
Mom wants us home.
Okay. Bye, guys.
You guys need a ride?
Sure. Yeah. All right. How about some one-on-one?
I gotta go eat, man. Sorry, I'll see you later.
Welcome back, everyone.
It's time to check in with student meteorologist Brianne Weathers from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University for a look at our national forecast.
Heavy rain possible across multiple areas this weekend. We have this low pressure system really bringing in this rain that's going to continue to push east through both Friday and Saturday. And of course, with heavy rain and storm potential, we do have a risk for flooding across this entire red area. So if you do live in this area, be sure to have your weather alerts available so you know if you need to act in case of a flood. And in the northwest, we actually do have a possibility for high rain as well in this red area, and heavy snow is possible in these areas of higher terrain. And along with rain, we also do have some wind, a pretty gusty weekend. We have some gusty winds both Friday, Saturday, and Sunday through the morning to the evening. And on the opposite side of the country in the northeast, we have some showers as well. We have moisture along the system track that's really going to bring in that rain and moisture. And with that, I'm going to give it back to my friends at UCF.
Thanks, Brianne. Now let's see if the weather will cause any last-minute changes to my Halloween costume this weekend.
I sure hope not. I'm dressing up as Britney Spears in her iconic Baby One More Time music video, and I really don't want to freeze.
Don't worry, Camila. Student reporter Lukas Miller is in front of Lake Claire to fill us in on our local forecast. Lukas, how's it looking out there?
Hey guys, you guys are busy arguing about your Halloween costumes, but I've already got mine figured out. I'm going to be Charlie Brown, a nice classic character, timeless. But now let's go ahead and look at the temperature all around the state. Starting from the top up, Gainesville's at a nice 82 degrees. On the coast, Palm Coast at a nice 79 degrees. Orlando back at 81. Leesburg following suit with a nice 80 degrees. Tampa still a little warmer with 84. Melbourne back at 81. And rounding that out, Winter Haven's back at a nice 84 degrees as well. Now on to your 5-day forecast. Tomorrow, Saturday, the high is going to be a nice 84 degrees with a low of 71. Sunday, back at 82. Again, another low of 71. Monday, a nice high of 85 degrees with finally breaking the 60s at a nice low of 69. Tuesday is going to be a nice high of 80 and then a low of 63 with a nice 20% chance of rain, so be sure to pack that coat. And then finally rounding out the days, Wednesday, nice at a high of 79 degrees with a low of 58. So now guys, make sure that my mama is going to be super excited for that sweater weather, and we're going to go ahead and toss it back to the desk. Thank you guys.
About how the NCAA is changing the game.
Plus, women's soccer celebrated its players on senior night.
Everyday issues like pollution, climate change, sea level rise, they threaten the beautiful nature here in our backyard. But here at UCF, you personally can receive funding to make a change. Students of all backgrounds are encouraged to apply for the Gulf Scholars Program. Funded by a grant from the National Academies of Sciences, this program prepares future leaders to solve some of the toughest issues our environment will face, all through team-based research and education right here at UCF. Participating students can receive mentorship from faculty in multiple fields, paid travel, and the chance to make up to $5,000 per year for each year in the program. Plus, Gulf Scholars get the chance to go on unique adventures around Florida's Gulf Coast, showing them exactly why it should be protected up close. Undergraduate students in any major can apply at gulfscholars.research.ucf.edu.
Being a cowboy, I don't know anything different from when I was 3 or 4 years old. I did tough things. I thought everybody needed to do tough things, and if you didn't, I didn't have time for it. I had a very successful career at a very young age, and life was fast. I was preparing physically. I wasn't doing anything mentally on the inside. And then I got hurt. I wanted to be better as a person. And I really dug into mental health. I start my day with 20-minute workouts. I live life 8 seconds at a time. courses are so therapeutic. They know what you're feeling. When you're nervous, they're nervous. He won't say it back, but we're pals. I take a lot of responsibility in taking care of my kids, my family, and being there for them. You're gonna have tough days. Everybody does. Find a place to stop and just breathe. Love your mind.
How crazy it is at UCF right now.
Good afternoon, Knights. My name is Nicolas Hernandez, and I'm here to bring you all your latest UCF sports updates. Let's see what's happening. UCF women's soccer pulls off a major upset, taking down number 4 ranked Baylor in a 2-1 senior night victory. The team celebrated their seniors before their game on October 23rd with a ceremony to open the match while honoring the upperclassmen Knights. Baylor's defeat was sealed by goals coming from Jada Sylvestre and senior Rajana Reed. Coach Tiffany Roberts-Sahadoc reflects on the win, telling her team that their performance set the tone for the level of play she expects from them.
Thank you, you guys. I just told them now is that is what our standard should be. That's how we should look in every game. That's how motivated we should be in every game. And I'm just glad that they got to have that feeling and that result. But just the way they won, I thought was very good. And hopefully that's what they continue to do because they know what it feels like.
UCF has already clinched a spot in the Big 12 playoffs with 2 games left to spare in the regular season. The Knights will be back on the field this Monday at the UCF Soccer Complex at 1 p.m. where they will face BYU in their last home game of the regular season. Switching lanes to men's soccer now. UCF reached for the Stars in their space game against James Madison. A 3-2 victory for the Knights marked their first win against James Madison in 2 years. The team held a strong 2-0 lead until James Madison pulled one back 10 minutes before halftime. Joy Mueller says that the win feels like finally seeing over the hill after starting the season on a losing streak.
JMU was the beginning of the end, and I always remember them for that. And to come out here and put them to the sword was a great feeling.
The crowd cheered on the Knights by holding up posters of players throughout the clash. The Knights will now hit the road north to take on the Georgia State Panthers. That's all we have for sports this week. Stay tuned for more updates on UCF sports in the following newscast. For now, back to you, Skyler and Camila.
All right, well, we all know what I'm going to be for Halloween, but Skyler, what are you going to be?
Oh, I'm going to be Mort from Madagascar, of course.
Oh my God, do you just love King Julian?
I do. That's our time for right now. Thanks for joining us. Remember, you can always keep up with us during the week on thechargenews.com.
We'll leave you with a live shot of downtown Orlando, but stay tuned for after the show and see an episode of The Golf at Night, a podcast produced by the UCF Golf Scholars Program. Thanks for watching. Goodbye, Knights.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Golf at Night podcast. Today we'll be talking about a field trip that our group did to the Moat Marine Lab in Southwest Florida. It's a great laboratory funded by different organizations that find mitigations and resilience and issues along the nature and species along the Gulf Coast and in our Gulf. So we got to take a field trip there and talk to some scientists. So today we'll be exploring a little bit of what we learned and what's going on there.
Tell me, what was it like going into such a large facility?
I think that's pretty interesting. I've never been to a research lab before. Just being able to go there and see everyone doing their own thing. We saw some students doing some projects. That was really awesome. And getting to see both everyone from different fields doing their own thing, contributing to each other's research and work, and everybody working together to try and help the environment, try and help stop red tide is one of the big ones, stop red tide. which is really interesting. I've never been to a place like that. I've never seen people like this, like who are experts in their field using this research and technology, um, like for like advance their field.
It was awesome seeing the different projects and knowing that if you put them all together, it would ultimately create a large ecosystem. But to individualize them and work on them separately, it really particulates each species. So while visiting the lab, we saw a lot of different projects. We saw their aquaculture lab, which is one of the biggest in Florida, which produces all different sort of fish for the state, whether it's go back into the ecosystem or for food purposes for us humans, or even the Georgia Aquarium. We saw their coral banks where they grow all different species of coral and collect their genes. We saw their mangrove station where they grow and give mangroves out for the ecosystems, their seagrass, um, their harmful algae blooms as well, their toxicology lab, and all sorts of things. So, which one were you guys' favorites?
Honestly, I'd say the toxicology lab was really interesting to me because I'm someone who always likes and appreciates the technology. Um, so seeing like first of all the hardware they had there, which was super expensive, but seeing how they were how they were using that to look at the samples they had and then be able to see, okay, this is this much red tide bloom, and then be able to send it to state and keep the public safe, right? I found it was very interesting how that one lab, how the people working that contribute so much to public safety and health. And also, we talked a little bit to the guy who was working there, and I found it really impressive that he managed to like pretty much yeah, teach himself the software needed to use those machines within the span of like a couple of months, right?
Dr. Chris?
Yeah, because the last person he replaced wasn't able to teach him before he left, so he had to kind of learn on his own. So that was really impressive.
I am the analytical chemist that works in the ecotox department. My job is essentially to take all of the samples that get extracted, and once we have those toxins or whatever we're looking at isolated and concentrated, the question is how do we actually measure that, and how do we quantify how much toxin is in that sample? Essentially what we have here is all of our instruments that are going to be measuring those toxins or whatever analytes that we're looking at. So we can come on in here. It's kind of tight, so I'll squeeze in. We have a few different instruments here. The main kind of, I would say, workhorse of our lab is this guy right here. So this is a, throw some science words at you, this is a triple quadrupole mass spectrometer, okay? So that's just a fancy way of saying that this is what measures our toxins, right?
That laboratory was really special, I think, especially because they got to process those water samples and test them for toxic contaminants during the night. They didn't even have to be there in the lab, and the machine would process it overnight. So they'd come out in the morning and they could process all those things and then be able to protect our public, send it to our governments, see if the beaches are safe or not. So I thought that was really special.
So it's good to know that Dr. Chris works very closely with the government when it comes to water quality, as we do live in Florida and we are surrounded by a large body of water. So it's also very, very comforting to know that our government does actually care about the health of their citizens, because Dr. Chris, he reports back to the government about the water quality, if there's too much toxins, or whether or not they should shut down the local beaches. And the government, it's not like they're saying, well, tourism, the money. No, they actually take it seriously. They listen to Dr. Chris, they listen to the Moat Lab, and they shut down the beaches until the water quality has regulated.
If any of our listeners are interested in seeing different toxins or see if there's any harmful algae blooms in your water, there are maps you can find online provided free for use that shows the different toxins in our water in real time. In the toxicology lab, we talked to Dr. Toyota and her other scientists on the research they're doing on the toxins in our water. They take cells from sea turtles and they take human lung cells, and they actually study to see what effects these toxins have on the human body, on our marine life, and see what harm they're doing. So it's a really important lab, and I'm glad we got to talk to them and see what they had to say.
So there's all types of things that we can understand from looking at cells and culture that will lead us to gain insight about how contaminants are actually affecting us as whole human beings to cause diseases.
Just to piggyback what Mikey said, we did learn from the Moat Marine Laboratory from Liz Longstreet that they are funded by the state of Florida to fight against red tide that is against affecting our beaches in the Gulf Coast.
And so to stay time really wanted some solutions as to how can we combat the negative impacts from red tide. So the state Governor DeSantis actually created the Red Tide Initiative. It's in Florida statute to find mitigation control technologies to actually kill the Carina brevis cells and reduce the toxins that it produces.
Okay, so going back to the theme at night, of the Gulf at night, we actually learned a lot from Eve about how they're simulating nighttime and daytime to grow baby corals at their lab.
Coral Gene Bank is really focusing on just storing and housing different coral genotypes from the Florida Reef Tract and making sure they're healthy and that we can use them if ever needed. Unlike fish, coral can only spawn once a year. It's on a full moon in August/September. Since it's at a full moon, that means it's starting to get into the nighttime. And our scientists don't want to be here overnight, every night waiting for coral to spawn. So they start to switch their day and night schedules. They have a super advanced system that can control like light, moonlight, temperature, salinity. And they have these blackout curtains, and they can start to trick the coral into thinking day is night and night is day. So they can watch them during their regular hours here when they're doing their other work.
So that was our time at the Moat Marine Lab. Make sure you guys support your local researchers. And in our next episode, we will be diving into Venice Beach to talk with a local legend, Stuart. See you later.
Bye-bye.